Welcome to Shrimperscast, the Southend United podcast with me, Paul Hill.
And me, Steve Mansfield. On today's show,
Shrimpers in York give battle in vain as Blues slump to a 3-0 defeat on the road.
a double sending off leaves the cavalry depleted as the fixture list shows no mercy.
We're back with our fan in the stand diversity with a view from the LNER Stadium.
We've got part 2 of Bernie's interview with David Crown.
We launch a brand new competition for all you Shrimpers fans.
And we look forward to Maidenhead at home on Tuesday night.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Shrimperscast. I am back here with Derby Steve. How are we doing, Steve?
Not too bad, thanks, mate. Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, mustn't grumble. You had a good week?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, actually. Not too bad. What I've been up to, went for a little curry on Friday night with some mates over at the Indian Chefs on Hamlet Court Road, actually. Really, really tasty food, actually. Probably the best curry I've had around here for a while. So
Nice.
if you've not checked it out, listeners, do check them out. They do takeaways and they do sit-ins. Yeah, really good food.
Nice one. Sounds good.
What about yourself, Paul? Good weekend?
Yeah, not bad, but still moving house. Yeah.
You look like you're carrying a bit of an injury yourself, mate.
Yeah, it's horrendous. I've melted my thumbs. What I was doing, I was trying to knock out these 3.5 foot spike things in the garden with a smiter, and I got carried away. And then before I knew it, I've got these horrendous friction burns right in the joints in my thumbs. So every time I go to pick something up, they split and all of that stuff. But, you know, I like things that match. So I've got one on each hand. So, you know, symmetry is everything, I guess.
Does look sore, though, to be fair, mate. So take it you're ruling yourself out of going in between the sticks tomorrow night at Maidenhead for, replace Colin if he is injured.
Mate, I'm not even going to get the gloves on. Look at the state of them. But what about yourself? You've got to have your Turkish foot bone. What about you?
I did. I played a bit of barefoot 7-a-side over in Turkey when I was on holiday in August, and stupidly took my boots off and played on the old-fashioned Astro. It was about 35-degree heat, and it was that Astro that's kind of like a bit of carpet with sand on top. And I was playing all right, and it was all going well. I thought my feet feel a bit hot, and I looked down, and they'd literally in about 3 or 4 minutes they'd blistered over, they'd gone red, the blisters had popped, and I had like flaps of skin hanging off the bottom of both feet. I was walking like a cowboy for the rest of the holiday. It was absolute agony, but I'm nearly over it. So if Kev needs me, he knows where I am.
Well, at least you'll be able to get some boots on and crack it on. But, well, let's get stuck into today's episode. We know, a lot going on at York, and we've got a fan in the stand, Pip, back with us, who can talk us all the way through everything that was going on. So let's listen to what he had to say. What's your Pip? How are we doing? Thanks for coming back on to the Shrimperscast. So, let's get stuck into it. It was back up to Yorkshire for the second week on the bounce. So, yeah, how was your trip, mate? And I heard the motorway was a bit of a stinker and trains not really going out of Southend. So, how was it?
Good morning, Steve and Paul. Thank you so much for having me on for the second week running. Clearly, I'm doing something right over here, which is surprising given me. But anyway, the travelling up the Yorkshire. I don't know what happened this week, whether there was more train strikes or something, but it was horrid. Getting up there, M1 closing, traffic everywhere. Only just made kickoff by about 20 minutes, and I left about 8:30 in the morning, and it was no better on the way back. A1 was closed for half hour, causing more delays, but we got home in the end and got a video out for all of you lovely people.
Ah, top man. I'm glad you got your video out. And if you haven't gone and checked Pip's workout yet over on these socials, please do. He's go over to YouTube and look up @diversity. That's D1versity, and see his match reports. They are top stuff. Right. So it looked like the boys did us proud in that first half, Pip. Can you talk us through it?
Despite the result on the pitch and the stupendously bad refereeing decisions, I'm proud of those boys 100% of the way. What they do for us week in and week out, given all the stuff that has gone on over this last year and more actually, is just through the roof commitment. They all could have walked off by now and found new clubs and have successful careers, but they have stuck by us. But yeah, the first half, I'd say, was definitely the better of the two. Created chances, looked to pressure York, but unfortunately in the second, it just all came apart.
Well, the referee certainly didn't help at all, but we'll come on to that in a moment. But let's talk about the goals, and especially that first one, a bit of a screamer there. It seemed to come out of nowhere.
I'll be honest here, chaps. That first goal, corker of a strike. And I hate to say that about opposing teams scoring good goals, but it was a decent strike from, I believe it was their left wing back. But it was so preventable. Similar again to last week, we said about preventable goals. Could have been closed down so much quicker. I think the midfield and defence were expecting the left wing back to make a pass off, but no, Latty Fairweather just had a crack and it went in the top corner. But like we said, it was so preventable, and it really was against the flow of play. We were all over York for the first half hour, and then that came up, and it was just the one that set us back.
Yeah, that first goal, it was a cracker and it did set us back. But, again, this National League refereeing, another shocker from the referee with 2 sending off for the Blues. Just talk us through it. What happened?
How on earth you can give Harry Taylor, the star centre-back of our team, a red card for tugging on someone's shoulder? The guy didn't even fall over or make it look bad. Straight red card. The Gus Scott Morris one wasn't really as clear. Apparently it was for verbal, misconduct or something. He said something to the ref, but that happens in every game. It's not just Gus. Everyone had to go at the ref. Did they all get sent off? No, your players did the same. Tyler Corner had to go at the ref for Harry Taylor's red card. Did he get sent off? No, it's bizarre and stupid.
Oh, 100%. And I'll tell you what is bizarre and stupid is that referee Paul Cooper. He's only done, before the game at York, 4 games, 26 yellows, 2 reds. After the game at York, 31 yellows and 4 reds. Absolutely insane. But you did mention there, we got the suspensions. There is some injuries there. You did mention in your video online, a big Colin in goal looked like he might be injured. Any news there, mate?
Yeah, so the Colin thing is a bit worrying, let's be honest here, chaps, because not only do we not have a spare keeper, but can we even get one in on an emergency? I have no clue anymore of all these rules and regulations, but Colin did not take any goal kicks, I'd say, for the last 15 minutes, and that was because 10 minutes prior to that, he went in for a 50-50 with a York striker, Lionel John Lewis, and came out much worse. John Gowns was on the field doing medical stuff to his ankle, so the only hope is it's not as bad as we think. If Kensdale has to take all these goal kicks come tomorrow night, so be it. But please, Colin, just stay in one piece. We can't afford any more injuries.
Well, we can't afford anything at the moment, let alone big Colin's medical bills and people to afford to pay him, cut the pitch and everything else. But the 2 reds really did seem to push a certain section of our fans over the edge. I mean, we can't condone pitch invasions, but we totally understand where they're coming from here with that little pitch invasion. So, yes, what happened, Pip? You were there. Talk us through it.
So the fans getting on the pitch. Okay, chaps, let's be honest. There's no need for it in a football game. I think that's clear enough. You don't need to be on the pitch. It's down to the players and the officials to be on the pitch. But there comes a time and a point where it reaches boiling point with fans, and the game was gone. The referee had ruined the game for us. And I think realisation kicked in that we had injuries, 2 suspensions now. Tuesday night is going to be a horrible night for us with only 11 fit players. Fans had enough. They wanted action. They wanted the game suspended, and they just wanted their voices heard for Martin out. And York, to be fair, them joined in with Martin out chants and clapping along. So it's not really a bad thing that it happened, but the way and the manner of it, yeah, not agreeing with it. Sorry, chaps.
Absolutely, but it was, great to see that unity in the stadium there with York fans again showing their support for our plight. And it was great to see the team and coaching staff applauding like the fans at the end there. So what was the mood like in the stands at full time?
So the full-time whistle goes, and you can see Kev is not happy at all, to be fair. He walks straight over to his players, tells them, don't shake the ref's hand, get straight over to us away fans. Doesn't say, right, boys, it's been a bad day, get down the tunnel, we're going home. Like we might have seen from previous managers. This man got all his players and staff over and stood there for a good 5 to 10 minutes just applauding the fans. And it made us feel proud to be a Blue. Despite the result, we were proud to see our players fighting week in and week out, knowing that off the pitch, we are literally in the biggest turmoil of any club. And how people can say that Everton are the worst run club in this country, I have no clue, but immensely proud of the boys.
As are we, Pip. As are we. Boy, as is everyone. And of course, yes, we are the worst run club in the country, without a doubt. But what is really great, again, nearly 600 away fans making the long trip up to York, showing that dedication, that support for a failing team. We've got some of the best fans in the country, and we're glad to hear that you made it back safe, as with everybody there. And we wish you well. But again, check out Pip's work on YouTube. Go and search Diversity. Check out his fans. Thanks a lot, Pip, mate. We'll catch up with you soon.
Massive thanks again to Pip AKA D1versity there for providing our match report from the York game. Paul, really difficult time for Southend. I think the fans, certainly all those that we've been speaking to, and the general mood around the club has been still quite optimistic. It felt like that was always going to have a shelf life and probably going to run out at a certain point. And, you know, just looking at some of the stuff online and the general mood, it feels a little bit like that York game there was where kind of good luck ran out. And the refereeing decisions added to that, but also, you know, when you've only got 15 players, it's not sustainable, is it, really? So, yeah, what's the mood, really? You're a lifelong shrimper. How are you feeling?
Well, just when you think we can't get any lower, we sit, like you say, you mentioned online there, and you look, you think it can't get any worse, and it does. But you know, like you say, we're down to our bare bones FC. With the game will go ahead, I think, on Tuesday. But I think, you know, it's not going to be a happy atmosphere there. I think there was a lot of anger going on because it has gone quiet on the takeover. And is it going to happen? I don't know. I mean, my own personal view is it's not. I think we need to be prepared for a Phoenix club to rise on this. The time is ticking.
Yeah.
We've got to go back. Well, the council are going to hopefully step in and buy Roots Hall, so at least we'll have a solid base. But when you're seeing what's going on in Parliament, there's no positive noises coming back, really. Like, there's nothing there that's giving us confidence, is there? I mean, and I think this result was that kind of final nail in the coffin. We can't keep going on like this, and yeah, it really does, doesn't it, feel like the absolute end?
Yeah. It feels almost inevitable, though, when you've got so much stacked against the club. You know, without those 10 points being deducted, I think Southend would be sitting at 9th, which is just incredible, really. Again, given all of the, you know, the transfer embargo for over a year, the fact that you can only field 15, name 15 players, including subs. More protests. Obviously, Pip touched on the fans coming onto the pitch there, but also on Sunday, I believe around 100 fans again went over to Ron's house on Benfleet Road.
Yep, and they stopped the traffic for a little while and had a protest. I mean, I get it. I get why they went on the pitch. I get why they went and stopped the traffic in the road. They want to have our voices heard. We need to bring forward what is going on at our club into the national media. It happened with Bury, but I think it was like 2 weeks before the club folded, before all the mainstream picked it up.
Yeah.
We need it picked up now. We need people to know what is happening to this football club in our community. And I just get that feeling it's going to be too little too late, just like with Bury and Macclesfield and all the teams that went before us that have folded. And, there doesn't seem to be this urgency that is needed.
Yeah.
And, the club, we haven't signed anyone in a year.
Yeah.
No wonder, and if it's not going to be sending off, it's going to be injuries. We need fresh faces. No fault for the coaching staff, all the players, all the team. They could, like Pip said, they could have all down tools, all easily moved on. They're staying here for the love of the club, for the love of the town, and the fans have just been outstanding. And we've got to keep doing everything we can do to raise what is going on, so it doesn't happen to other clubs.
Yeah.
And hopefully the council do move in and buy Roots Hall, and if we do have the end, then we can look forward to back-to-back promotions, 4 or 5, all the way back up into the National League. We've seen it done with Wimbledon. We've seen it done with other clubs like Wrexham as well. I mean, they've had a helping hand with a couple of rich actors, but it can be done, and we have to look forward, and we have to be prepared for the worst possible outcome.
Yeah. And we're hearing as well that there might potentially be another court appearance on Tuesday for the club in Basildon Magistrates Court, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was our other producer, Will. I didn't even know about this until this morning when I got shown the tweet, and I couldn't believe it. But when, Anna Firth talks about it in Parliament. So you're buying the club for £1, but you're buying the millions of pounds of debt that goes with it. And this isn't the HMRC debts. These are bills to, people who are mowing the lawn and doing all of the work.
Just your normal creditors.
Yeah,
I remember with one of the clubs that were in a lot of trouble. It was ambulances, wasn't it? And it was there was a lot of outrage because it was kind of St John's Ambulance that were being
And it wouldn't surprise me if this is a bill that is owed to someone who's done all the electrics like 2 years ago, and then Ron's just been dodging it and not answering their phone or emails, and they've had to just take the club to court just to get their money, and quite rightly too, because you do a job, you expect to get paid for it, and not to be shunned by a naughty boy.
Yeah. So two red cards at York, 2 suspensions, I believe. Taylor is a 1-game ban and Gus is potentially 2, but the Gus the Gus decision should be appealed today on Monday by midday. Is that right?
I think so. I think it's a mistaken identity from what I'm reading in the report. Harry Taylor's one was such a soft one from what I've heard and seen. It's just a tug on the shirt, and even York players remonstrate with the referee to say, "Don't give him a red." It's not even a red. Just goes to show. How bad this ref was. I mean, he wanted to be in the limelight. He's got in the limelight. I think he heard that, Ron was the most hated person in Southend, and I think he got a bit jealous, so he decided to jump in on it. But, there we go. But hopefully we'll get back. It would be good to have Gussie. Again, all our players have been outstanding, and we need everyone on board here. So let's see what happens. Okay, no more doom and gloom. Let's get back to rainbows and unicorns. And talking about unicorns, Bernie last week went and saw Southend legend David Crown, and this is part 2 of that interview where they talked about the good times that were rocking around in Roots Hall in the late 80s and early 90s. So let's go and have a little listen to what they had to say.
45 league goals in 116 games at Cambridge, which is, very decent. At the start of the 87-88 season, you rattle in another 9 in the first 17 for Cambridge United, which alerted third division strugglers Southend to your capabilities. And Paul Clark shelled out 50 grand for you, if I've got that fee right.
Yeah, it was 50 grand.
You made your debut the 14th of November 87 against Walsall in the Cup.
I had an absolute shocker.
Zip, 0-0.
Yeah, and lost the replay.
Yes, we did.
I can always remember the lads at the back of the bus mumbling, "What have we signed here?"
Well, we were saying that in the stands as well, to be fair.
Yeah, there was not so much mumblings as
yeah. So you were getting the fans on side again. But you were 29 then. It took you 4 games to get off the mark. Funnily enough, the first game you scored is York, who obviously we play. You got your goal there in a 3-0 win. And then it really started to turn around for you, and you really showed the Roots Hall faithful what you're all about on a Friday night against Billy Bremner's Doncaster, where you notched and we beat them 4-2.
Yeah, God, blimey, happy days.
You go on to score 17 goals in 28 league games that season in a struggling Southend side.
Yeah.
And we stayed up.
Yeah.
We stayed up, so it was money well spent. And 3 games that really stand out for me when I was looking through the games that season. Obviously, one of the key games that season, March 88, was Wigan at home.
Yeah, I remember that one.
2-0 down.
Yeah.
Big Roy.
And we knew it was a game. You always talk about must-win games, and no game is a must-win game.
But that was, wasn't it?
But that was a must-win game.
Yeah, and I mean, they were like sitting in deck chairs with the cigars out first half, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
So Big Roy come on at half-time, Big Roy McDonough, he slotted in a pen. Martin Ling, he scored another one. Then talk us through, I mean, you will remember this, talk us through the goal, because this is a goal. See, my favourite was the goal he scored at Hereford the season after, to be fair. It was a couple of seasons after, that was a great goal. But this is the goal that all Southend fans remember you for.
I would like that. That goal it was in the stands. Look, I got the ball just about, I suspect, in their half, and went on a little bit, and everybody's going, "Oh, he's not going to shoot. He's not going to shoot from that. Oh, don't shoot from that. Oh, great goal!" And it was one of those days. I'd love to be able to see it again.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Because I'd love to see how slim I was then.
We can get into them shorts later on.
Oh dear me, no, the Blues there.
Anyway, massive win as we said. A few weeks later, my first away game as a Southend fan, all the shot away when you got us a 1-0 win in the very last minute, and then that really memorable last home game of the season, scorching day, Blackpool.
Always a scorching day.
4-0 win.
Yeah.
And that we had to. It was a final day win to stay up, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember Peter Butler scoring.
Who followed you from Cambridge?
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just probably one of the most comprehensive victories you'll see, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we I think we deserved to stay up, and that was one of the when that the following season, David Webb's taken over from Paul Clark, and I was on a goal bonus, so that is perhaps why I was shooting from goal kicks. Like in that season, oh, look, I've got nothing to hide. In that season, when I signed, I had to score 15 goals to get the bonus.
And what would the bonus have been in those days?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what it was. As an accountant with figures, if I scored 14 goals, the bonus was nothing. If I scored 15, it was £1,500, and then £100 per goal thereafter.
That's to be fair, a tidy sum in those days at that level, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I managed to spend it all. So kids, and then the following season, when you're there for a full season, it was 20 goals. So 19 was nothing, 20 was £2,000, and then the following season I get 29 goals. I must admit, we've touched on Vic. I had a row with him because I was trying to count the goals in the. It was probably the Leyland Deaf then or something, and he was saying, no, they don't count. I'm saying, well, yeah, but surely as well, if they don't count, goals in training, Vic must count.
Yeah! Well, it's funny that you mentioned it's the Freight Rover Trophy.
Was it the Freight Rover?
And I remember a game against Lincoln at home where you scored 2. There was about 1,100 people at Rootsall, and I'd actually been told I wasn't allowed to go that night by my mum, and I climbed out my first-story bedroom window, walked across the conservatory next door, jumped down the side, went to watch the game. You got your 2 goals, got home, she went to clout me and I smacked my head on the door and cut me eyebrow open. So I gave blood for you there, Dave.
They were great because I can remember we were Paul as managers really struggling. And
so Clarkey was still in charge. He'd done a great job keeping us up, brought some great players in, some great butts, yourself, Paul Sansom, Paul Brush, brought some really important players in. Started off the season great with a 2-0 win against Bolton. First game, Phil Brown playing for them. Massive pitch invasion, big punch-ups. I think they brought about 2,000 because they'd just come up. But Webby, the spectre of David... Don't call him Webby.
No,
the spectre of David Webb was still hanging around in the background. Obviously, he'd done well before, left for whatever reason, whether he'd fallen out with Vic Jobson or whatever.
Possibly.
Come back. I think he was spotted at a cup game at Bristol City.
Well, that's what happened. We lost away. We got the worst FA Cup draw. We were struggling then. We got the worst. We were seeded then in the south. We got Bristol City, who were top of what is in old money Division 3. We were drawn away, and we lost 3-1. And I think that was the one and only penalty. I missed that in that game. We came out, we trudged out, and Paul was you could tell was under pressure. And we looked at Vic Jobson's Jag. He was driving away, and David Webb was sitting in the front seat.
So you know what's happening, don't you?
Then we played Lincoln on the Tuesday, and then a couple of weeks later, David was in the job.
Well, he was brought in as general manager, wasn't he? Right? But and Clarkey was allegedly still manager. But I mean, that was never going to work. And I felt sorry. Did you feel sorry for Clarkey because Clarkey done an amazing job, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he took over the season before a hard job.
Paul is one of the best coaches that I ever played under. You could see how he develops a training session. I played under Glenn Roeder, and Glenn, God rest his soul again, lovely man, but we just used to do anything, whereas Paul, you could actually see a thread through a training session of what he was trying to develop, and another hard man. And
well, he looked like he stepped off his Viking longship at the Thames Estuary, didn't he? And come down to Rootsall for a pillage.
You better not say that
to
him.
I wouldn't, mate. I wouldn't.
To be fair, he's possibly, I would say, he's got a bad hip. He's had a hip replacement, but he certainly lost. As opposed to me and most other footballers who put it on, I would say probably he's about the same size as he was playing weight.
Well, I'd never said nothing about his weight. You brought that up. So that's obviously you've got a problem with it. I said he looked like a Viking warlord. That's like strong and tough. That's what I was alluding to. So you've gone off on a tangent here. I think you need another biscuit. You need some sugar. Anyway, but Clarkey, to be fair, I thought it'd give him a second wind as a player, though, because maybe he'd struggled as a player because he was a very young player manager. He was only 30s, wasn't he?
He's younger than me. Paul's younger than me.
He became a very important player at centre half again, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, great footballer.
Yeah.
Great football.
Anyway, that season Webby's return didn't go to plan because we went down last game of the season despite beating Chester 1-0.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing day. We had to beat Chester, and Reading were at Chesterfield, and we thought Reading had lost and we were safe, and we were all in the dressing room celebrating, and then it came through. No, they got it round the wrong way. Reading had won, and we were relegated.
But that season, to me, as a young fan, there were some amazing games under the floodlights that year. Rootsall, I've always Friday night football,
That's what I said.
midweek football,
don't
always
think
special, magic.
I don't think there was ever a game at Southend I didn't enjoy.
Well, we expected you to score every week as fans.
So
okay?
did I, because I was at the goal
yeah,
bonus. I certainly tried hard enough.
And you got 29 that season, but
29.
But two games that really stick out for me. 29 in the season where we went down,
Yeah.
but two games that really stick out for me. Home games under floodlights, magical. Well, when we beat Wolves 3-1 at home, the Steve Ball side.
I've got a great Wolves story for you.
You got two and Tilly got one. Okay, so tell us that and we're going to the next one.
So,
and they got promoted that year, obviously.
Yeah, they had a great front pair.
Steve Ball, Andy Much.
Yeah, great front. Steve Ball got all the plaudits, but we had Shane Wesley, who was a superb footballer.
Who went to Wolves, obviously.
Yeah. On the back of marking Steve Bull out the game, he got his move to Wolves. So obviously it's Friday night. We went out for a drink afterwards to celebrate, and there was four of us. There was me. I believe it was Peter Johnson, and I know it was Danny O'Shea, who was Shane's big mate, and Shane. So we had our night out, and then typical. We're coming home. If you're with Shane, you don't obey rules of queues. He jumps straight to the front of the queue. Taxi pulls up and he shouts to the taxi driver so everybody can hear him. Can take 5, mate. So Danny pulls him to one side. He said, no, it's only Shane. 4 of us, Shane. He said, can you take 5, mate? Danny, Shane, it's only 4 of us. How drunk are you? There's 4 of us. He said, no. I've got Steve Bull in my pocket here. And that was Shane.
That's a great one.
Yes, that was
That's
Shane.
a great one.
And like, I mean, he's had a lot of injuries, and hopefully you're well, Shane.
Yeah.
And Danny's out in Australia.
Right. And also that season, another team to get promoted, despite us going down. We beat all these teams.
Yeah.
We did the double over Sheffield United, and there was another great game at Rootsall. Harry Bassett's Sheffield United, Brian Dean obviously got the first Premier League goal in the end. We beat him 2-1 at home. Big Roy with his diving header. Steve Thompson, the future Blues manager, scoring an own goal.
Well,
but another great game under the floodlights.
I can't remember that one. I didn't score.
What's that? You don't remember that? Assist?
Oh, dear me. He didn't get any money for assists.
But so we turned it on against these big sides, but we as I say, we still got relegated despite that final day. Anyway, the next season we're back in the basement, back in the 4th division. There was 89-90 season. There was always rumours that maybe Norwich or someone were interested in you.
Well, it's one of the stories that probably relates to why I decided to leave
At the end of the 89-90 season.
Yeah. So I had a clause in my contract that if a club came in for me, I was entitled to 10% of the fee. And I was told, reliably informed, that they had quoted £250,000 to Ipswich to want to sign me. I would say...
And you're obviously in your early 30s now, aren't you?
I'm in my early 30s. I would say that I think that if I look at, and I'm being brutally honest, if I look at my career then, I suspect a 31-year-old forward in this day and age that probably would have gambled. But at 32, look, most people say you're finished in your early 30s. I think that now footballers, with all of the improvements in medical science, etc., and the money involved, they look after themselves a lot better. And, hopefully they do. And possibly they would have gambled. But they wouldn't gamble on a 30. Well, I was 32 in the February of 90. So that then when we came to the end of the season, and I thought I'd fulfilled every term of my contract, the club would argue, well, you got paid well to reward it. I asked for a £25,000 signing on fee.
This is why you left at the end of that season.
Yeah, and
so you was out of contract.
Out of contract,
and you scored 24 goals that seation.
Yeah, and we won promotion and all of those sorts of things. And I get that people who, what should we say, I'm probably got a one-eyed look at this, but people with other views would go, well, you were just part of a team, David. It wasn't just you that got promotion, but I thought I'd fulfilled every part of my contract, and because the clause was in the contract that I was entitled to 10% of the fee, and I'd been reliably informed Ipswich had been quoted £250,000 to sign me, I asked for a £25,000 signing on fee.
So this is making sense now, because I remember talking about the goal bonus things. I remember being in the North Bank towards the end of the season. I think Rochdale scored an own goal in a win at home, and you were desperately trying to claim it. And it's blatantly an own goal. So now I'm understanding it.
I could assure you I claimed worse than that. One time at Cambridge, I was going clean through on goal, and one of the things that you learn that you must know where the goal announcer is in the crowd. So I'm going clean through on goal. Tommy Taylor's, we're playing against the Orient. Tommy Taylor's following me, the centre half. No, sorry, Tommy Cunningham. I shoot it, hits the goalkeeper, it rebounds and hits Tommy Cunningham and then goes that way into the net, and I claimed that one.
Did you get the bonus?
There was no bonus at Cambridge. No.
Anyway,
no, yeah.
back to that season. So we've gone down. Webby's got his feet properly under. David's got his feet properly under the table now.
Yes.
We have a good run in the cup.
Yeah,
we beat Colchester home and away. You get 3 goals in those, which obviously endears you even more to the home fans. And then obviously we set up that 2-legged game against Spurs. Yeah. Now for all the younger Southend fans, or say younger now, it was a long time ago now, seeing us beat Man United and Rooney and Ronaldo, this was. So Southend were Championship when they played Man United. We are 4th Division, bottom league, against top flight Spurs. They've got Lineker. They've got Paul Gascoigne. Lots of other good players. The year that England went and got to the semi-finals of the World Cup in Italy.
That was when Gazza was at his pomp, wasn't he? That was before he's done his... I think he did his knee 91.
Yeah.
And he was just... That night, he was just not only he was unplayable as a footballer, but also just a great lad. You can see...
Was he chirpy?
Yeah.
Could you understand him?
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we touched on the shorts aspect, how short the shorts were, particularly mine, and he was taking the mickey out of me, rolling his shorts up. But just a great lad.
Playing with a smile on his face.
Yeah, a football nut. I mean, his crime, in my opinion, was loving football too much. Like you mentioned Gary Lineker. You do recognise in football, when you get older, that there is a time when enough is enough. Like I can remember sitting in the dressing room at Brentford when I got off to a flyer back in 1980, and Pat Cruz, the centre half, saying to me, "You'll know when you can't do it when your legs are gone." And looking at him and going, "What's he talking about? Legs gone?" When your legs go, especially somebody like me who's relying on your pace, you know is enough. Whereas Gazza just wanted to play. They always say the way to discipline Gazza was not to allow him to train, because he just wanted to be in the camaraderie of the group and with the lads. And that's at most, as you get a bit older, training becomes more of a bind, shall we say. And like, I mean, particularly when I was at the Gills, I could get myself injured in training, and those sorts of things. Where Gazza just loved the whole aspect of football.
Anyway, so we got beat 1-0 at White Hart Lane in the first game. Terry Fennick, bit of a scruffy header. Yeah. Set it up brilliantly for the second game. A full house at Roots Hall. Dave Martin scores an header for us to level it up early doors, doesn't he? Yeah. We win the game 3-2 on the night, Dave. Gary Bennett got a couple.
Yes.
Big Roy got his obligatory sending off.
Yes, Paul Stewart for them.
You had a great game, your usual stuff, the entertainer, the pace, working the channels as well as through the centre. You had a great game. It was a brilliant match to watch.
Yes.
Like I say, it was 4th Division Southend against top flight Spurs. I actually kicked in the car park at Roots Hall. This was October, wasn't it? To get tickets for that game. Sleeping between a Ford Fiesta and an old truck, breathing in the fumes all night, which is probably why I turned out like I did. But it was a massive game. And I know you hate me asking you this, Dave. Yeah, but there we are. It's 3-3 on aggregate. Away goals count. You're through at the death, Dave. Eric Torsfit, looking into his eyes.
I will still swear on my granddaughter's life, Summer and Lana, that when I go through, I didn't hit it as well as I went. Peter Butler had won another 50-50. How many of them did he win in his career? And it ball just broke to me, and I'm going, and it's perfect for me. I'm on the angle, and I go hard and low as you've been coached all your life across the keep. I didn't hit it really sweetly, but I hit it well enough, and it hit the inside of the post. I swear to you, I'll go to my grave saying, and if you think if it hits the inside of the post, it should rebound.
You got a chance, haven't you? Yeah.
And it's come out.
Yeah. And
I wonder. Like I look at life, and I go, if that, like we're talking about, would you about ifs and buts and maybes, and I've had a lovely life, and I'm not gonna. I don't want to change anything, but I just wonder, because when I got the move to Portsmouth, it was a big move, a big club, and did football look at me? I didn't do well at Portsmouth, I can't pretend otherwise. There were circumstances going on, but I didn't play well. And did football look at me and go, he can't cope with, if I'm being brutally honest, he can't cope with a big scenario. He wants to be a big fish in a small pond. Whereas if I go to play, but if that had gone in, and we'd beaten Spurs, because David didn't like it, but I had an agent then, and I'd had a lot of, I can remember there was an article in the Mirror beforehand where Jimmy Greaves, God rest his soul, had spoken out about me, and this is a lower division player that deserves
someone
a chance.
Should pick him up.
But it stayed out because of them that part. But
a great game.
I mean, and what for people that for the younger element, if you can get hold of it, it is the second game at Rootsall. If you can get hold of the video, it's got.
It's on YouTube. It's got everything on it.
Yeah,
the perfect game.
We get wired. Well, a terrible word. We get wired in. There's some unbelievable. Paul Roberts, my good mate. He absolutely flies into that.
Paul Stewart gets sent off as well,
Paul
doesn't he?
Stewart gets sent off.
Yeah.
It was everything going on. Great goals like. Naeem played up against Andy Dixon and gave him twisted blood where he turned it. Like he had both cartridges taken out of the knees, Andy, where he's twisting and turning by Naeem. But we gave Gary Bennett 2 great goals. Roy getting sent off again. And then I can always remember Gazza coming up to us afterwards and what he was as a person, and it's heartbreaking he's obviously got issues.
Where he is now, yeah.
But just a great lad. And I suspect if you talk about people changing their lives, and you cannot, and I get that, but as you say, as you get older, legacy, etc., you look at things, I bet you he would have been, if he had, I believe, I think that he always had that aspect in him, but he would have been a world beater if he hadn't done his knee.
Absolutely.
He was just just got on the ball. I mean, that year at the Tottenham, that was 91. Some of the games I remember seeing. He just run games, didn't he?
Yes.
And just scored goals, and he had the lot.
Anyway, it was 3-3 in the end. We won 3-2 on the night, so it was a great victory. We went out on away goals 3-3 over the 2 games. But one thing in football, it swings and roundabouts. Things usually even themselves out. It was a good season. We tried our best to chuck it away a little bit. It was obviously the first season of the playoffs, I believe, off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think so.
So going into the last game of the season, Dave, where we had to win at Peterborough on the final day to ensure we got 3rd spot on automatic promotion, which they still had an outside chance of getting as well.
Yeah, they were still in there, weren't they? They were going in the playoffs, weren't they?
You redeemed yourself, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I scored... all I can remember that day is about the Viking out. I've got photos here. I've got a Viking out.
Yeah, but in the picture when you're being lifted up, I was in the crowd that day. Don't tell me why I went up on the supporters club clothes. I had a rubber ring around my waist, a gold glittery wig on, and a Viking helmet. Couldn't tell you why, because we took about 1,500 that day, didn't we?
All I can remember is
Another
how
hot day.
hot it was. Yeah, it was unbelievably hot. And I goalkeeper made a mistake with one. And then, went under him, and then the other one, you can't quite see. It got a faint deflection, and the goalkeeper, that one went in. So we won 2-1, and I got both goals. And looking back, it was with hindsight a bad decision to go to the Gills. Again, I would still say, given all of the set of circumstances, I'd have to make the same decision. 32 years of age, Gillingham offering me more and more money, etc., etc. But it's a lovely memory to look back that was my last game for
perfect way to you can't ask for a more perfect sign.
Well, the only trouble was, you say it was a perfect way to end. Sort of 9-10 months later, when 12 months later, when I'm coming back on the coach from a Gills game, and the Southend supporters pull up at the same service station, they're celebrating promotion to the Championship, and I'm on the back of the bus for the Gills.
But so how did that make you feel? Because I was going to say, all right, you hit the post against Spurs, but those 2 goals at Peterborough, in the grand scheme of things, Southend going on to get their first ever promotion to the 2nd tier, were far more important than a one-off game.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the way I think you have to look at it, Dave. So please let it go now. Yeah. After all these years, feel redeemed.
Bitter and twisted.
Feel redeemed, okay?
Bitter and twisted crowd of Holbridge. No,
But when
I'm
that
not, look, to repeat myself, I don't look back. When I was 20 years of age, I was playing for Grays. I was playing for £10 a week. Got the chance to go to Walthamstow, and had a great time at Walthamstow. Doubled my wages to go to Walthamstow. No, I was promised a £200 signing on fee by Walthamstow if I could get away for nothing. Couldn't get away for nothing, so I didn't get the £200 signing on fee. All comes back to money with me.
Don't it? That's why you're an accountant, Dave.
Yeah. And so if somebody then had said to me, you're going to have 13 years as a pro footballer, you're going to have times, you're going to play at White Hart Lane, you're going to have promotions, you're going to hold a goal scoring record. In the year 89-90, you're going to be voted by your peers into the PFA team. I'd have gone, yeah, I'll have that.
Cracking stuff there from Bernie and Big David Crown. Great interview there. Well, we are looking at getting former Blues legends and players on. Who would you like to see on Shrimperscast? Get in touch with us over on our socials. We are on Twitter and Facebook at Shrimperscast as well. You can email at hello@shrimperscast.com. Tell us about your favourite Shrimpers moments, either at the ground or favourite players that you've met, on your favourite games, your favourite goals. Get in touch and we will see what we can do. And, well, we have had a bit of a visit from a few people. I hear we've got a competition going on.
Indeed, we have, Paul. Yeah, we've had a couple of fans of the podcast and obviously Southend fans as well who have donated some prizes for us. So we're going to be running a competition. Big thanks to the guys that have donated. So it's a guy who goes by Football Stadium Photography over on Facebook and Instagram, and at Dave the Photo on Twitter, who has loads of really cool photography of stadiums around the country. He sent us 2 Southend United themed prints. One of them is a montage of a load of classic Blues programmes, and the other is some really nice photography of Roots Hall Stadium. 2 really nice prints, and also big shout out to Keith Rowe, who's an author who sent us his book, which is called A Southend United and South Essex Football Miscellany, which really does go back into the history of football in the area, covering all the local teams. You've got Southend Athletic in there, Lee Ramblers, all sorts. So if you're interested in football in the South Essex area, it's a really cool prize. The competition itself, will be putting pictures of the prizes over on our social media. So get onto us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and we'll be announcing how to enter the competition over there later in the week.
Tip top, yeah. Check them out. Be in it to win it. So here we go. Tuesday night, Maidenhead at home at Roots Hall. I believe you're off to see that game, Steve?
I am, yeah. I'm going to pop along with our other producer, Will, who is losing his Roots Hall cherry at Maidenhead, ironically. It's his first game going to see the Blues. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to it. Obviously, there's the 2 suspensions, hopefully reduced to 1 suspension if the Gus red card is successfully appealed. But I think there's a good chance of Southend taking some points from this game. Maidenhead is sitting in 17th on 10 points. They played 5 away games this season, lost 3 of them, drawn 1 of them, and won 1 of them, but that was a good few weeks ago now. They've not won a game in 5, so they're in a really bad run of form, and I think they're the second lowest goal scorers in the league, right, with 7 goals. So, you know, really, the atmosphere should be absolutely amazing at Roots Hall tomorrow night, with everyone getting behind the team. And we know that the Blues can score. So, yeah, if we get that first goal, I think we should be on to at least pick up a point or all 3, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, our record against Maidenhead is decent. We played them the last 4 times. We've won 2, drawn 1, lost 1. Maidenhead can't score. They can just concede. I think, like you say, we need to get that first goal. I mean, we were all over York until they scored. As long as we can be positive again, straight from the off, get that first goal, we'll be. I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah, and the support just needs to be there. You know, the ground will be absolutely rocking, and you know, hopefully that will carry the team forward. So I think there's a couple of connections as well with the current squad at Maidenhead. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And you know me. I always like ex-players coming back to haunt us. But Maidenhead do have a couple. They have Ashley Nathaniel George, who was with us a couple of years ago. And again, just like when he was with us, he's in and out of the team, can't get a run of games together, and I don't think he will be a threat. But one name that popped out, which I was quite surprised when I was going over the team, was old Kane Ferdinand. He's down there now. He was back with us in about 2012, and part of the Ferdinand family. He comes from this dynasty of great footballers. It was all right for us, got a couple of good moves, but again, he's in this Maidenhead team now. I think he's coming towards the end of his career. He's played in every game, hasn't scored yet, so well, he would be the threat for us. It would just be our luck that he'll hit another 30-yard screamer and then, from the halfway line or something like that, But there we are. But I think, all being well, I think, like you say, Roots Hall's going to be packed. Everyone is really on with the team. I think they're going to want to avenge the weekend's disappointment, and I think we're going to come out on top here.
Yeah, and if we do get the 3 points and other results go Southend's way, then we'll actually be able to leapfrog Fylde if they lose and get ourselves off the bottom of that table, which will be a massive, massive morale boost. So fingers crossed for the full 3 points.
Absolutely. Let's get it. And we have a bit of sobering news that we heard over the weekend that former Blues manager Colin Murphy passed away, and everyone at Shrimperscast sending their condolences to the Murphy family, and a man renowned for his pre-match, the programme notes, always quite entertaining to read, but he was the man who brought Stan Collymore to our club, and Stan put out a lovely tribute to Colin, saying that, if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have been at Southend. He wouldn't have converted from a winger to a striker, gone on to have his career at Forest, Villa, and played for his country. And Colin was with us only for a short time, he was a manager at Lincoln, Stockport and Notts County, a very successful manager, a great character, and he'll be sorely missed to everyone for the club. But thanks for everything, Colin. And that's episode 3. Huge salutes to Pip for being the fan in the stand. Again, David Crown for an excellent interview. And of course, you, our listeners, for listening and tuning in. Please like and subscribe across all our socials and wherever you get your podcasts. Look out for a podcast special from our producers Steve and Will with their thoughts on the Maidenhead game. And thanks for listening. There we go. Here we go. Up the Blues.
Up the Blues.